Hey everybody, it's Kellen Nitro from Nitromaniac TV's wrestling channel, and hello, it's Kellen from Canada. Joining me on the line today is the one and the only Mighty Moorhouse. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Got a little workout today, so my legs are just recovering, and my upper body's still recovering from a couple days ago, so I'm a mess.
I realized, I seen your Snapchat earlier today, and you said you were getting the banana blast from Booster Juice, so your potassium levels are at an all-time high.
Mm-hmm.
Potassium is important, folks. It keeps cramps away.
Eat some bananas.
That's right. That's right. Anyways, the on-air light is on, which means it's time for another mega podcast, and it's probably the biggest one we do. It's the Meltzers. It's the 2018 of our version of the 2018 Wrestling Observer Awards. Now, of course, we're not in any way affiliated with the Wrestling Observer or anything like that, but this is just kind of more of, okay, Big Dave throws the questions out to his subscribers. What would we fill in for the answers and that stuff? And last year we did this, and it garnered a pretty good response from people. It's one of the most viewed videos on the channel is the 2017 Meltzers. This is the 2018 Meltzers, and usually last year we put it up in January. Yep. However, January this year was incredibly busy for both of us, so that's why we're doing it now in February. And in hindsight, it's a good thing that we are doing it in February, because between January 1st and 31st, a lot of shit went down. Lots of it. Yep.
We already have probably award-winning items from January alone.
Yeah, for 2019. Or maybe even 2018, depending on however you want to spin or spend it or whatever. But, yeah, it just was a matter of scheduling and that stuff. I mean, I took off the Royal Rumble. You had, stuff that you were doing, on the personal side, and try to rejig, the House of Moore brand and everything like that. So, it's good to finally get a chance to sit down and let's conflab, and we'll take a look at, as I throw this up on the camera, and we'll get a better look at this later, the spreadsheet of the 2018 awards. So these are pretty much all of the categories that everybody who gets the Wrestling Observer will vote on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we've got everything from Wrestler of the Year all the way down to, Best Pro Wrestling DVD/streaming documentary. So let's start digging into it. I'm just going to go from the bottom of the list up, if you don't mind.
I think we should go from the middle to the top, back to the bottom, and then do the second one.
Well, whatever you want. That's the thing. But, all right.
It's your show. You choose the order.
Yeah, well,
I have everything I need here.
Yeah, the best way I think we can do this is just go bottom from the top and just roll with it that way. I think we had a discussion about this last year too. It's amazing. We can never figure out how to go about this, but we usually do. So, all right, the first category is Manager of the Year, and this is one of the longest running ones that have been in the Wrestling Observer. Pro Wrestling Illustrated also does their Manager of the Year every year, and so forth. And my picks. Oh, by the way, should also explain, we have two categories for this year. We have WWE and non-WWE. So the winner of WWE, obviously, for Manager of the Year is Paul Heyman, in my book. And for non-WWE, I have James Mitchell from Impact.
Yeah, okay. I have different nominations or winners.
Okay, that's why we have two lists. Go ahead.
On my Manager of the Year for WWE, it would be Lio Rush.
Oh, okay.
I think Leo's been doing pretty much what Bobby Lashley can't do, and be charismatic and entertaining.
See, I have Paul in my spot just because of seniority and still seeing him in person with Brock. To this day, he accomplishes what he needs to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Like even though it's not so much a manager as it is more advocate for Brock Lesnar. I think still that act is maybe as hot, if not hotter, than it was when Brock reunited with Paul what is it, almost 5 years ago already, something like that?
Yeah, this run of Brock has been twice as long as the last run.
Which is crazy. That is insane. Absolutely insane. Your pick for non-WWE.
It's going to be Gato again.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you went New Japan.
Yeah.
Now, he had an interesting year. So he started with Okada, of course.
Yeah, then he turned on Okada and started with White.
Yeah.
And then is now doing the exact same thing that he did with Okada, but now he's doing it as a heel with White.
Which, again, another reason why it's a good thing we're doing this now instead of a month ago. Jay White just recently crowned the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and will probably be holding that belt going into their big super show in New York at Madison Square Garden. So,
I think he's going to be holding the belt a lot longer than that, even.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think with him probably a longer-term title run, 6 months? A year?
I think he's going to carry it to Kingdom.
Really? Wow.
And then he's going to... And then my prediction is Okada, White, Kingdom 14.
That could be good. That could be really good. So you don't see that at MSG at all?
No, MSG, he'll probably fight Tana again.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, for sure. My pick for non-WWE Manager of the Year, Jim Mitchell, made a huge...
James Mitchell. Yep. James Mitchell.
Yeah. James Mitchell, right. Made a incredible comeback in the storyline with the whole Rosemary Alley, Kiera Hogan knockouts thing. It was kind of along the lines, if you haven't seen it, it's very much along the lines, well, Su Yung as well. The big feud is between Rosemary and Su Yung over in Impact. And it's very... It's what Impact does best, which is the off-the-wall, weird, strange, almost House of Hardy type of, mini-movies and that stuff. And these are actually really, they're really entertaining. They are super entertaining. It's like a cheap knockoff of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but it's so bad it's good. So it's really good. Yeah.
Nothing like some B horror grade entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bad movie beatdown, absolutely. So cool. Best heel of 2019. I went first last time, so you go first here.
For WWE, I have Ciampa as my best heel.
Okay.
I just am amazed at the heat he drew this year, especially with his match with Gargano, where he had the entire arena just saying "F you, Ciampa, F you, Ciampa."
Mm-hmm. No spoiler there. That's who I have as well for best heel. So.
All right, we agreed. Mm-hmm. And then non-WWE, I have a tie. I couldn't decide between the two. Mm-hmm. So I have for half part of the year, he was the best heel I found was Cody Rhodes.
Right.
But then overall, I also liked Austin Aries as a heel.
Okay, interesting. Elaborate a little bit more with your choice of Aries, because we also tied with that one as well for non-WWE. I have Cody as well as just best heel throughout the year, just because the Omega Cody stuff was next level, and even going forward with the stuff with the Bucks and everything that they were doing in Ring of Honor, just amazing, and also New Japan as well at the same time. But Austin Aries. That's a little bit of a peculiar, considering the way his year ended. It's a little bit of a peculiar choice, but
he played a best heel. He played an arrogant ass clown, I would say.
Which is what he does best.
Exactly, and he also left as a heel. He left the company as a heel. He's still branded as a super heel, so he even built more heat against himself after his contract with Impact Wrestling was done.
Which I think we spoke about in one of the Odds and Sods casts earlier on in the channel, but I think now as you look at it, Aries as a heel maybe more an extension of the character itself. I think it's just that he's just letting loose with this and having fun on the indies. I think he's the type of guy that knows that, okay, the WWE run probably wasn't for him, and he's probably not for WWE. That's fine. Still no mention of him going to AEW, but I'm sure that that's probably a major promotion that would love to have a guy like that.
Exactly. He's not tied down to anyone right now, so he's a very good free agent to go after.
And I mean, he's still on good terms, I think, with Ring of Honor. Impact, obviously that ship has sailed, but, going forward, hey, we'll see what happens. So just don't book him on any independent cards with Taya and Mundo, and we'll be good.
Yeah, also don't have him job. He doesn't like the job.
Well, if you're going to make him job, just at least make it pleasable. I think it's kind of like the Dean Ambrose thing where he doesn't want, any hokey blank. You know what I mean? Even though I cussed earlier, I'm going to bleep myself now, but whatever. Best babyface for 2019. I guess it's my turn to go there for best babyface of the year. WWE, Seth Rollins. I think that we got to see a lot more of Seth's babyface side and good guy side this year. Teamed a lot with Roman, teamed a lot with Ambrose before Ambrose's heel turn, and is a constant on Monday Night Raw. So I'm going to give Rollins that nod. Non-WWE, to me, just especially with the energy and Raw, whatever, and he is the John Cena of Japan. Hiroshi Tanahashi is the best babyface outside of WWE right now. Just the pure popularity of the dude. He is iconic in Japan, and the music, the air guitar, everything. Just that's the dude. He is the guy.
For myself, WWE, I picked Finn Balor. Balor is for everyone. Wrestling's for everyone. So he's a very positive role model for all fans, regardless of age or sex or gender. So he's been fabulous, I think, for a babyface, and you can't book him as a heel because he's such a babyface.
He's diversity if diversity was a wrestler. Yeah.
For babyface in non-WWE, I almost changed it to Tanahashi, but I put it as Kota Ibushi.
Okay.
He's the Golden Lover. He's always been the babyface, and if he's getting beat up, his friends will come and rescue him. He's the babiest babyface you can find outside of WWE right now.
Yes, he is coming back for the New Japan Cup too, which is great. I thought he was going to be out for longer after a Wrestle Kingdom match, just because that was just that shot that Ospreay gave him was just brutal. But that's something that they can build upon. I'm looking forward to the next time to square off.
Yeah, no, he signed a long-term commitment with New Japan, so he's not going to be coming to the States for a while unless it's Ring of Honor.
Right.
Yeah, he's on the path right now. I think he's going to be a big challenger this year against Jay White. Okay,
the next category, kind of antiquated in some ways, but also they've made an amendment to it this year too, where they've added, here's the name of the category, Best Pro Wrestling DVD/streaming documentary. So there's the amendment right there. We're going after stuff that's on Netflix and, on the other services and everything. To me, there were two that really stood out this year. So I'll do it as such. The best WWE streaming documentary was the Andre the Giant HBO special. And the best non-WWE one, even though it involved a WWE talent, was the Ric Flair 30 for 30. 30 in 30, 30 for 30, I should say. I think they're both evenly well done as the two documentaries to watch from 2018. I've seen both multiple times at this point, and nothing else really can compare to them. I know that there was a lot of good stuff that came out in 2018, and I know that there's going to be a lot more stuff that, like, we got biopics that are going to be released, soon, 2019, and that's of, the Fighting with My Family, that ilk, and stuff like that. But this is going to be, like, these two here, just the way they're done, kind of opened the door and said that you can tell, or you can show wrestling in this new modern storytelling infotainment documentary style that seems to be such the rage with everybody right now.
Well, I agree. I only picked one for this because I thought you compare both brands, so I picked the Andre Giant as well. I thought it was an excellent documentary. The Ric Flair one was I thought was really good. The only negative I had against it was a lot of the information I already knew going into it, so I wasn't very surprised. Okay. But the Andre one, I learned a lot more about him and how he survived the industry with his size and medical issues that he had.
It's such a wild, eye-opening thing. It is for a guy to have those type of challenges going forward.
Yeah, no, it was an excellent documentary. And then this year's going to be exciting because, as you mentioned, there's the movie Fighting with My Family. There's also the Kenny Omega documentary coming out in March.
Yeah, it's the Engraved on a Nation series, yeah, for sure, which is kind of a really cool thing. Living in Canada, we saw the first Engraved on a Nation. Just to explain it to everybody, is Canada's version of Ferdy for Ferdy, and it was originally done up for the centennial of the Grey Cup, which is their big football trophy of the American football, or Canadian football, I should say, up here. But for people in the UK and that stuff, we're talking tackle football, not the booty footy or whatever.
There's
the booty.
There's
footy.
Football with a ball and there's football with a cone. This is football with the cone.
Yeah, but the initial Engraved on a Nation series, quick tidbit, I had a chance to work on at one time, and I did. I worked on a documentary. It's out there called Western Swagger. You can go check it out. I think on iTunes and all sorts of other things and that stuff, but my name's in the credits for that one. That was about the 5-in-a-row Edmonton Eskimo team that dominated the late 70s and early 80s in the CFL.
Warren Moon.
And a host of others. Just, pretty much everybody who was on that team is in some sort of Hall of Fame somewhere, because they were all really good players. But that's beside the point. But yeah, go check out both those documentaries if you haven't had a chance. And the documentaries we talked about too coming out in 2019 may make it into the category for 2020, 2019 when we do the ones for 2019. So
stay tuned. It's only...
We'll have to watch them and see.
Another 360 days away.
This is our first worst of the list, I think. I think everything else we've done so far, I'm just looking down at this, has all been bests. Yeah, so not only do we do bests on the Meltzers, there are the worsts as well, or that Dave sends out as well. So the worst gimmick of the year. WWE-wise, I have the Commissioner Corbin gimmick. That was late 2018. That was just bland, terrible, awful, boring, crappy, and snoozy.
No arguments there. It was business. Baron Corbin was not best for business. It got pulled because of Best for business, Baron Corbin was not best for business. The ratings tanked. They had to pull the whole angle basically just off our feet because it was just going poorly.
Right. Exactly. But that was just a really, really bad gimmick from top to bottom. Poorly executed and poorly written. And it doesn't fall on the performer there, it falls on creative for that.
My worst gimmick in the independents, it was hard for me to find one. Unfortunately, I did choose a popular gimmick with a lot of people, but for some reason I'm just offended by it, and I don't see any marketability in it. If he were to become a next level talent, and that would be, I'm tired of the Joey Ryan gimmick. Okay.
See, I have a specific thing with that. It wasn't the gimmick itself, it was the Druids that came out at All In.
That was bad.
And the mocking of the icon, the Undertaker, of that, which will be very interesting now, considering that AEW has booked Undertaker for their StarCast in Las Vegas. So I almost wonder, Undertaker, possibly Joey Ryan in the same building.
I don't know if they can use the Undertaker, the character. So he might have to play Mean Mark Callis that night and bring back Dan Spivey and Sid Vicious to powerbomb him.
Oh my goodness, a Skyscrapers reunion in 2019. That's just what the world needs, Moorhouse. Holy moly, that would be wild. It was something that was, I don't want to say revolutionary, but it was it kind of is like the Mick Foley run in WWE in such a way that, towards the end of the run, they had to freshen him up, and he was doing Cactus Jack in his final matches and stuff like that. I think with Joey, it's too bad that the Lucha Underground thing didn't really take off as much as a lot of people had really anticipated it to take off more in the mainstream and that stuff, because at least his character on that show was that of a sleazy cop, and that was kind of cool.
It's more marketable, yes.
Yeah, exactly. So,
but if you're trying to build an audience, like, I have a feeling he's going to go to AEW. That's my general feeling.
Yeah.
But he can't do that gimmick if they want to be a credible company.
Well, I mean, that's another thing too. Is depends on AEW's TV, which at the time of this recording is still not announced. We can anticipate it's going to be Time Warner though, and if that's the case, TBS. If that's who they got, then that's going to be really that's a tough gimmick to try to pull out on mainstream TV, especially a superstation like TBS, which is all over the place. So,
and they weren't really cool with when WCW was there pushing the envelope a bit. So they're a little more PG friendly entertainment.
Well, the whole world is right now. That's the thing. Is that everybody's make TV back the way it is. No, the stuff that you liked that was on TV, back in the day is on the internet now. That's it. And just the whole TV thing. The most edgy-ish stuff you'll find on TV is maybe late night and maybe pulls a soft R.
Yep. But even then, they don't pull out their dicks and start swearing.
No, exactly. Or have druids dressed up in penis costumes walking to the ring and that stuff. I mean, like that was that's definitely something that could only get away with on pay-per-view. But that was that took a great match that Janela and Paige were having, and really ruined it for me, the end of it. And you can go back in the archives here on the channel and check out the Nitro Steak for All In for that. And that was just, to me, that was the only one down, choky, pukey part of the show for me. It was just really that.
You can literally hear Cornette rolling in his grave.
And as we'll talk about later, it was a contributing factor to my Card of the Year award when we get to that award. So we'll talk about that. So we're in agreement there. So best gimmick of the year. You go first for this.
Best gimmick of the year. She was a bit late to the party this year, but around September, October, Becky Lynch unveiled her Stone Cold Steve Austin character. The man. Yes. And it's been money for them. It's been a great gimmick, and she's still riding it as we speak. High and Dry is the best gimmick right now on that product. It is such a hot gimmick to see live. It is. It's probably as hot as the Daniel Bryan Yes movement back in 2014. That was the vibe I got in Phoenix, at least. It was as hot of that. What was the reaction at the Rumble when she came out? Oh, deafening. Very reminiscent. It might have been the crowd size and that stuff, but the next night on Raw and SmackDown as well, the pops, the eruptions for it, was very reminiscent of Attitude Era Steve Austin. Like, it was deafening. Like, that, like, championship game winning, just utteral rah, like that, Like, it was... he had to have been, like... Watching it back on TV and that stuff doesn't do it justice. It's one of those things that you had to been there live to see and feel. But it's just, and when she took Lana's spot in the Rumble, another huge pop. And then when she won the Rumble was the biggest pop of them all, right? And the way they've done that is an awesome build. And the way they're building to, what seems to be the WrestleMania triple threat with Rousey, Lynch, and Charlotte is... I love that story right now, and it's it's a carbon copy of what they did with Daniel Bryan, but that worked. That got one of the most memorable manias we've had in the last 10 years. So
that's what they want to do for 35, is make 35 obviously one of the most memorable manias, to see in the last 10 years. So I'd put that pop up there with the Daniel Bryan winning the title pop at this point as the two loudest crowd reactions I've experienced live at a wrestling card ever. So
interesting.
1A, 1B. Yeah.
From TV, you can see it. It's she just has the fans in her hands right now. For non-WWE, we're going with Switchblade for best gimmick of the year.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's playing his gimmick is kind of like a serial killer. Yeah. But he's playing it so well because it's an intelligent serial killer role, and he's joined Chaos this last year, made Chaos crumble inside, and then wasn't part of Chaos at all. He was part of Bullet Club from the start.
Right. Now he is, as I mentioned earlier, and I passed this to you, and I will officially mention this now. Yes, he's leader of Bullet Club. I accept that fact. I didn't want to accept it for the longest time, but yes, he is the leader of the Bullet Club for sure. For sure. I agree with you with the WWE gimmick of the year, for sure. The gimmick of the year on the independents, though, I had something written down here, and I have it just kind of scratched out now. I'm debating whether I should go ahead with it or not.
Don't you remember what your teachers used to say to you? Your first answer should be your only answer.
Yeah, but, the problem is that I wrote that before going to Phoenix, and then I had time to think about all these answers in Phoenix and that stuff and everything, and now it's like, do I really want to go ahead with that or not? I don't know. Oh, man. Non-WWE gimmick over there and that stuff. So, you know what? Heck, we're going to go ahead with my first answer. We're going back to New Japan for this one. Juice Robinson.
Ah. The Party Bear.
Huge year for him.
Party Bear.
Yep. A huge year for him. And it's the Adam Rose gimmick if they did the Adam Rose gimmick correctly. That's what it is. And it took New Japan to figure it out, but Juice Robinson is Adam Rose if they did Adam Rose correctly.
I love Juice. He's had a great year last year. He's very entertaining. Again, not a wrestler you want to put on TV right now because his interviews contain foul language that would make DDP cry.
I'm cool with that. I'm absolutely cool with that. That's fine. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. So it's one of those things where it's tailored to New Japan's tailored to a different age group than WWE is. So it's
an adult audience.
It's an adult audience. It's ECW. It's 18 to 34. It's R rating versus a PG rating.
Well, I wouldn't say it's R rated. You can't have sex in New Japan yet.
Yet. That's how they're going to set it themselves different this year. No. Well, I mean, geez, the way WWE was trending here prior to a Rumble for that week, it was almost as if they were bringing sex back. I was like, that was nuts.
Sex and wrestling do not go together, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole... we'll get into it probably later on down the line, but the whole deal with Alexa Bliss that week, and then again with the Mandy Rose, Jimmy Uso, Naomi storyline there on SmackDown too at the same time. That was kind of simultaneous. It was such a way where it was like, okay, well, we're clamoring for something for Alexis to do. I know, let's have her do this, and then. With that, it was with the other thing on SmackDown. At least the other thing on SmackDown, it was kind of, tangible with the storyline. But that's neither here nor there, right?
Damn it, we need more sex, but we can only do it in PG.
Promoters of the year, to me, there are two. Just the way that it is.
I have it as this one I have as a one category.
Oh, you have one category? Okay, go for it as the one category on your side then first, and then
I'm going to give praise to Scott D'Amore with Impact Wrestling.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. That's the first time that Impact has made their way onto this list in a positive light.
Well, in my opinion, he's really brought Impact out of the dark again.
Yeah.
They've been having a great year. They've been having a lot of good press, a lot of good matches, a lot of good cards. Status quo right now in the wrestling world where they sit isn't anywhere close to where they used to be. But I think they're trending in the up direction significantly. So since their Slammiversary in Ottawa, where people had to be paid to go there.
Yeah. It's a watchable show again. And I mean, they're running nightclubs, and you know what? They're packing the nightclubs. Like, Bound for Glory, that crowd and that venue was awesome. That was so cool. That was like seeing, an up-and-coming band live, or something like that. And, like, the best nightclub in the city or something like that. Like, that, the way they had it. That might have been maybe 500 people tops for a live crowd.
Mm-hmm.
But it showed up so well on the pay-per-view, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it just, results aside, they did some really weird booking for matches that night, and the way it ended, the way it went off the air is a real head-scratcher, but that was, again, your buddy Austin Aries being Austin Aries.
Yeah.
And it was, but just from front to back, since they've taken over Impact, it's just steadily gone up, 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 up. They've been making the right moves considering what they've had to work with, and they're running Mania weekend this year in the same city as Mania, which is, I know they did that last year too in New Orleans. They're finally starting to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Finally starting to figure it out. So
Good. 10 times better than what we were talking about a little over a year ago with them.
Well, if you got one category, I'm just going to reduce mine to one category too, or one winner. I'm just going to say for Promoter of the Year, Triple H with NXT.
See, I have that in a different spot than you.
So that's, we did it in I did it in such a way where, okay, we were going to pick a WWE brand. So I figured, okay, between, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, who is it? It's obviously Triple H because, they launched NXT UK this year. They've, the NXT main takeover cards were great. And then again in January, the advantage of doing this a month later, NXT UK did their first takeover, which was fantastic. They had such a presence in Phoenix this year that was incredible. And they, together with the NXT UK brand, so NXT UK, and 205 Live did something in Phoenix called the Worlds Collide Tournament, where they took something like 16 wrestlers and break down how it went through the mathematics there and that stuff, but however number from 205, however number from NXT, and however number from NXT UK, and put them all in like a tournament style thing where the winner would be granted a title shot later on down the line on whatever title he wanted amongst those brands. So the idea being that, okay, if somebody from 205 Live won, they could go challenge for the NXT UK title. Or, vice versa. Or they could challenge for the Cruiserweight belt or whatever, right? They built Velveteen Dream up throughout Access. He was the star, and he ended up winning the tournament. So he has the Worlds Collide tournament win and the chance to cash in the title shot on whatever brand he wants, and I think that's going to be coming up to fruition here with this North American title storyline that they're talking about with Johnny Gargano and everything going forward, as the belt that he's chosen with that. So to me, that's such an awesome way to do things. Like, that is great. That's cool. And hey, it's all the game. The Cerebral Assassin is running things, and it's wild.
And they said the Click held everyone down.
They've learned their lesson. I think it just took them a chance, like everybody else. They mellow out in their old age and they figure things out, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so next I think we have Best Booker.
Best Booker.
And I
Booker
picked Triple
T.
H.
Oh, okay, you took Triple H. There we go for Best Booker.
For my opinion, he's booked some of the best cards on WB. NXT is his baby. He's been booking fantastic there. He owns it. that's his show. Like everything that Triple H is about, you see on that show, regardless if it's the UK version or the US version. The talent he's pushing, the gimmicks that he's allowing them to do, and the creative that he's allowing the wrestlers to do is just making for entertainment TV.
Okay. You know what? I will agree with you there. I had Gato down from New Japan as well if we were to do a WWE, non-WWE split. Just because of the monster year New Japan had was, phenomenal. From Jericho and Omega in January all the way to, the build to everything with Tanahashi and now Jay White holding the IWGP title now as time that this is being recorded and that stuff. But, can't argue with Triple H. You got two great choices there for wrestling between NXT and New Japan. You could probably, not follow anything on Monday and Tuesday nights and just stick with NXT and New Japan on your cable packages and that stuff, and you'd be happy.
It's plenty of wrestling and doesn't drain your life like some of the main products that they sell.
Yep, exactly. So, worst promotion of the year. I have two because, again, I did the WWE, non-WWE split.
And I did not.
On this list. I'll just do it as mine for my answers here. For WWE, I just picked the worst brand of the year, which was Monday Night Raw, in my opinion, because, God, some of those shows were just awful to sit through. And the worst non-WWE promotion, ironically, is the one that just partnered with the darling startup that everybody likes, and that is AAA in Mexico. Partially because of the production value on their shows, I find them just hardly unwatchable or hardly watchable, I should say. They're very unwatchable to watch. And that Triple Mania show, with all the botches in it, is just unforgivable. That's your biggest show of the year, and that's what you give us?
It's funny, though. It's a funny show. Like, if you like Vampiro losing his mind, it's the funniest show you'll ever watch. And,
cutting ripe ones right in the frickin' just... I can't even get through this. It's terrible. It is probably...
Hey, Kellen.
It ranks up there in the top 10 of the worst shows I've seen ever.
Kellen, where's my music? Yeah. Where's my music? Where?
So, hopefully they bring in the talent. I'm talking about AEW. Hopefully they bring in the talent from AAA and not the production staff from AAA, if you know what I mean. And I think by the looks of their press conferences and stuff like that, I think they're doing it. So, or they're bringing in their own people and not dealing with anything else. So,
thank God for talent exchange.
Thank God for a lot of things.
So my worst promotion is different than yours.
Okay.
Ring of Honor.
Really?
And I choose Ring of Honor because they had all the momentum in 2017. Everything was going great. Mm-hmm. They were starting to push through the next level, and they fell asleep, I found, this year.
They have a habit of doing that. Especially since moving to Sinclair. They have a real habit of making a lot of headway and then all of a sudden just falling flat on their faces.
Yeah, you couldn't tell me a memorable thing about Ring of Honor this year, and that's depressing because the year before I thought they were fantastic and lights off.
They were on the boat.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but that was Jericho. That was not Ring of Honor.
They did a tournament on the boat, and then they sold the tournament as a separate pay-per-view that you could buy on the Honor Club service.
Which that service is also having a lot of issues, I've heard.
Yeah, it does. It does. I'm a Honor Club subscriber because I used it to get my G1 ticket through there, and that's because they had the pre-sale and everything like that. Other than purchasing the G1 ticket, that service has just been really not the greatest. There's been times where they've added some stuff where it's like, oh, cool, okay. But the thing is, I expected them to really load in the back catalog, and they haven't done so yet. I expected them to do some one-off specials, and they haven't done some yet. If they would have just copied New Japan World, it would have been great. But the problem is they haven't even done that. I mean, New Japan World's the better purchase of the two right now.
And everyone will say that, Ring of Honor sold Madison Square Gardens. No, they didn't. New Japan sold out Madison Square Gardens, and Ring of Honor gets to piggyback with them.
I will disagree even with you more about that. New Japan itself didn't sell out Madison Square Gardens. The Elite sold out Madison Square Gardens.
That's true. Everyone's expecting the Elite there, and they're not going to get them.
They're not going to get them. No. Case in point, I just was kind of playing around because I am heading to New York for Mania week and that stuff, and I do have, like I said, the ticket to the G1 Supercard. I was looking online and just seeing, how much those tickets are going on the secondary market and stuff and everything, and there's something like 4,100 tickets on sale right now on StubHub, ranging from prices from, if you want close to ringside, you're paying top dollar for it, but if you just want a ticket in, $25 and you're in, my friend.
Yeah,
it's more expensive to go to Blackcraft, which is going to be midnight Saturday after NXT over in where is it? I think Jersey City or something like that is where they're holding it, and it's and I think that's like $30 a ticket. So I mean, that's wild. Sorry, Friday night I should say, because the Hall of Fame's on Saturday, but. And that's just another thing that we haven't heard about yet is Hall of Fame announcements or anything, but that's coming up, obviously, but whatever. But
just a bad year for Ring of Honor. They've lost a lot of talent now. They're going to lose some more this year too. It's just things were so great in 2017, and things are just getting sadder and sadder.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I am looking forward to going to my first New Japan show. It's going to be amazing. It's going on at the same time as the Hall of Fame, so I'm going to hawk my Hall of Fame ticket to go to the New Japan show instead. But it's going to be quite the lacking experience, I think, compared to what it could have been a year ago at this time.
You were expecting Bucks and Omega, and you're still getting Tana and Okada, so that's okay.
Which is cool. The Gorillas are good too.
Jay Lethal.
Yeah, we'll have a Ring of Honor title match for sure. Absolutely. Dalton Castle will probably be on that card too, which will be awesome.
And it's probably going to be Marty's last card.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's kind of what they're building it up to be. Is it's going to be Skrull's maybe attempt to go after the Ring of Honor title, and that's it. Where I think they're building Skrull and Lethal up for it, but it is such a deal where it is not a great time for Ring of Honor at all. Both companies are feeling the effects of losing that much marquee talent to that startup. The problem is that I think Ring of Honor is feeling it a little bit more than New Japan is. New Japan already, you can see the framework building on something different that they're going we're going to strive forward with something else, and we're going to push forward. Yeah, we're going to take a hit at some places, but, that's live and learn, and we try to replenish it with talent that people want to see and that stuff. Ring of Honor, I haven't seen an exact plan out of. That's the thing is, Jay Lethal is a champion. Well, you did that for 5 straight years. What the hell is new, right? So.
Well, they'll probably have a tag team match with the Briscoes and someone.
Like they always do. Which, don't get me wrong, been following the Briscoes since they debuted. They're a great team, but, they're
the only team, it seems, right now.
Give us something new. Just inject some new blood in there.
They did. They got PCO. He's 51 years old.
When somebody from the Quebecers is your platoon in, that kind of... anyway, well, we'll deal with that a little later on.
We digress.
We digress. Where were we?
Feud of the year.
Is it best feud or worst feud? It's worst feud.
Worst feud, and I have both categories for this.
Okay, yes, as do I. Okay, so worst feud of the year. WWE side, I got Nakamura AJ. And non-WWE, I have the Bound for Glory mess with Austin Aries and John Morrison, Johnny Impact, Johnny Mundo, Johnny Pay-Per-View, John.
If he signs with All Elite Wrestling, is he Johnny All?
Johnny Elite.
Johnny Elite.
It'll be Johnny Elite. Maybe he'll just be just Johnny. That's it.
Yeah.
It's just Johnny, like just Joe, but you know.
There's the throwback. If you've watched WWE for 3 weeks, you might know Just Joe from 2000.
Just Joe. Man. We'll start with that one first. You know, we touched on it earlier, but the unprofessionalism of Aries, kind of working himself into a shoot with that, and then basically doing the Mr. Bean American greeting, except really meaning it on his way out to not only Impact Management, but the guy he worked the match with, his wife, the guy selling hot dogs, the fans, the technicians, the staff, the cab driver probably. The guy was just flipping people off left, right, and center like he was Stone Cold in the Attitude Era. But anyway, it's not great. No. That was terrible. That, you know, sometimes, you know, the old adage is get it in the ring and try to get money off of it. Well, they did, and I think that proves right there. They had a run of two guys with, like we mentioned, El Patron, Del Real, and Aries that are just, there's a reason why no major promotions will take a run at them. And that's the reason why, is just prima donna BS.
Mm-hmm. So my worst feuds, I have the Bullet Club Originals versus the Elite.
That didn't last long at all. That was like, that was a limited skirmish, and then that was it.
It was hyped as hell. Everyone was like, "Oh, this is going to be great. We're going to have the Tongans versus Elite." I don't think it really happened.
No.
I think they had a few 6-man tags on the openers, and that's about it.
That's it. Yeah, they didn't really build up to anything. There was nothing at Wrestle Kingdom about it.
No. Nothing at Dominion.
You know?
It's past Dominion, but nothing at Destruction.
Because I think did they not have the Bucks and the Gorillas in the IWGP tag match, but it was a multi-team match. There was another team in there.
Yeah, they were focused, because the whole thing was focused on Sonata and Evil for that match.
Yeah, the LIJ team, right.
Yeah.
That's it.
So we never had payoff. It was started hot and just was dropped. Yep. And to me, that's a bad feud, because you don't have closure. It's just kind of delete, was like, yeah, we're going.
No, hey, that's something that we'll look back on 10 years from now and be missed opportunity right there. Yes, absolutely. We should have had Kenny and Tama go one-on-one. We should have had, you know, or Kenny and Fale, or you know, even Cody and...
They could have had a match with Coda, nearly murdered Coda, and that would have started even Kenny to get into a more of a cleaner phase.
Right, exactly, for his final thing. Other than, you know, the version of Kenny Omega we saw that dropped the belt to Tanahashi, probably, you know, it seemed like just a guy going through the motions at that time. Like, there was no real special to it, but...
Well, the feud didn't have much heat on it either.
No, so...
And then WWE, I had... They just lost this feud to me. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose.
That kind of wandered off into nowhere. Such a hot start and such an emotional start to it, and then it's a contributing reason why Dean's leaving. That's the thing, is that he is leaving after WrestleMania because they wanted him to do some real hokey stuff, and they're kind of doing really hokey stuff to him right now. Like, I mean, you know, put him in a match with Nia Jax. All right.
And now he's also feuding with EC3.
Mm-hmm. And losing every week to EC3.
Losing to EC3 a lot, yeah.
Yeah. And
which is actually normal for a wrestler leaving a promotion. He's known to just job until he leaves.
It's called doing the favors on the way out.
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's putting over the younger talent. Yeah, that's what he's doing. So,
but to me, that feud was just goofy because Ambrose started acting like Bane.
The sirens with his music, I find, were annoying at first, but now I like them. So it's kind of cool. I really feel for the guy because I was there live, the Raw from Phoenix the night after Rumble, where he wanted to address the crowd and started to address the crowd, and all of a sudden they cut his mic off and sent Nia Jax out there.
And then, yeah, she threw him out.
Yeah, it. If that was creative, that was lame, and if that was, a shoot, which I think it was kind of maybe borderline more of a shoot than anything else, maybe a work shoot, but that's unclass. The guy is a former WWE champion, and he's sacrificed so much for the company and that stuff, and so much time, and is 1/3 of probably the most influential power trio you've had, in the last 20 years or so, and to treat him like that, that's great, but
Yeah.
Well, hey, May 25th is way after the last Raw, the Raw after Mania, so, and it is in Las Vegas, and we know that Ambrose lives in Vegas, so
Yeah. And then
start your rumors now.
I don't know if he has a 90-day no compete, but we can see him maybe even in Jacksonville as a headliner there.
That would be that would be the only thing, would be the 90-day no compete if he leaves. That would kill that. But yeah, exactly. That charity benefit event in Jacksonville would probably be where he would debut. But that's it. Just quickly touching back on Nakamura AJ. It's amazing how they took a great feud from New Japan and something that everybody wanted to see, and a great match so far at WrestleMania, and turned it into, I don't want to say Dick Kick City, but Dick Punch City. And, yeah, that's all it was. And that terrible Backlash match, that was, to me, other than Crown Jewel, the rock bottom of the year.
That was the WWE. Double knockout by a low blow, right?
Yeah. And your WWE title rematch from WrestleMania.
Moving on to worst match of the year, I have
Okay, go for it.
AJ versus Shinzay from Backlash.
Okay, yeah, because of that, sure. See, I have, even though I didn't watch it, the Kane Taker Triple H HBK match from Crown Jewel, just because of the circumstances leading up to it, and why are we seeing a well past his prime Shawn Michaels wrestle a well past his prime Undertaker, and it seems to be the contributing factor to why, well, Undertaker doesn't want to do anything with WWE anymore and has decided to reach out on his own, and HBK says, I'm cool being a trainer at the Performance Center and being an agent on NXT, which is a good fit for him. So
the funny thing about that match is WWE has made, back in the late 90s, they used to make fun of WCW for putting on Macho Man and Hogan matches, and they were in their mid-40s. 20 years later, they're putting in 55-year-olds in tag team matches.
Yeah. I don't really have a worse match for non-WWE for... I've left it blank.
I had a match.
Okay.
But it's been mentioned multiple times tonight. Mm-hmm. And that's Austin Aries versus Johnny Impact.
The Bound for Glory main event. Okay, well, cool. All right, we'll roll with that. We've already touched on it enough, previous. But yeah, that was the terrible, awful ending that we. I was just going to mention, for that, if I had to grab something for it and that stuff, there was a really crappy match we saw on that independent card here in the city, with that one guy. What is it, Titan? And I don't know who he was wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
It was from the PWA Night of Champions. That one really wasn't the greatest.
No, but I don't know if all our audiences attend PWA shows in Edmonton.
And, at that level, at the local independent level, the guys are learning their craft anyway, so I'm letting it slide, just that stuff. But I'm just saying that, if it was a Monday night or a Tuesday night match, on WWE TV and that stuff, they'd both probably be looking for the exit.
Yeah. It's not like we can keep nominating Irishman versus Crazy Core
Yeah. Wow. That's some names from the past there.
from Monster Pro.
Yeah. The Mad Irishman. There we go. By the way, Pro Wrestling YEG, April 13th. Get your tickets. The link's below. Go check it out.
Do it!
Do it. All right. Anyway, we're at the worst television show.
Worst TV show, one category.
Let me guess. Monday Night Raw. It's terrible, isn't it? It's really bad. SmackDown is more digestible now at this length. I know it's going to go to 3 hours in the fall because Fox is picking it up, yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera. Stuff happens. Life goes on. Life finds a way. But the Raw right now, USA, man, it's so long. When you got guys even that work for WWE complaining about the shows being too long, I don't know if they were just doing that just to trope us and everything, but I'm not going to mention who, but I was fortunate enough to ride the elevator up to my room in Phoenix with a couple of behind-the-scenes producers of WWE. One that I've never seen before, but he had a WWE shirt on, and that's so he must have been a technical producer. And the other one, I'll tell you off air who it was, but he's a very well-known producer and a former wrestler. Would have wrestled in the 80s and early 90s and that stuff. So, there, I've narrowed it down. When they're complaining about the shows being too long, that's an issue. So, yeah.
3 hours and 15 minutes a week, plus SmackDown of 2 hours and 15 minutes, plus NXT of 1 hour, plus another UK NXT 1 hour, plus 205 Live of 1 hour, plus Superstars of 1 hour, plus main event of 1 hour. These pro producers are getting destroyed.
Well, to be fair, the stuff like the little filler stuff, first of all, NXT UK separate crew, NXT separate crew.
They're all separate crews for the most part, but still, it's a lot of work.
It is. It's a lot of programming.
Plus, the writers have to write a lot of stuff, and just to get it thrown away at the last minute.
They have a network, and the mandate a few years ago was, no, we don't want legacy programming, or we don't want evergreen like ESPN Classic old cards and old shows on there, over and over again, which was a lot of the appeal of getting the network for a lot of people, was a chance to, have a 24/7 wrestling network where, okay, cool, we can turn it on and, we'd be in the middle of, Bash 87 War Games or something like that, or something classic. And instead we get reruns of the Edge and Christian show and
Camp WWE,
Divas, Camp WWE, etc. So they wanted original content. I run 2 YouTube channels. In adjacent to this one, I have a drag racing channel. It's hard for me with 2 YouTube channels to program for 5 days a week. It's the reason why I take weekends off. Because I need time to produce some goddamn content. And, so it's to do what WWE does on a night in, night out basis and the crew they have and everything. It is, man, I feel for those guys. I really do. And that's not, discounting its competition now, too, and that stuff. Because, if AEW opens up running on Tuesday nights, how long are they going to go? Are they going to go an hour? Are they going to go 2 hours?
I'd like him to go to an hour or an hour and a half, but we'll see, I guess.
The most disgusting promotional tactic of the year. Right. So, did you split it by WWE, non-WWE for this one?
I did.
Or is it? Okay, I did too. So, I'll go first with mine here and just roll it out, and then we'll see if they kind of, mix, right? So, the WWE's most disgusting promotional tactic, I should say, is the entire build and pay-per-view of Crown Jewel. which happened in the shadows of the Jamal Khashoggi murder, pretty much, and call it what it is, and going forward with that show in the country that committed said murder of an American citizen, by the way, just weeks after said murder was, alleged to have been committed, just shows that WWE is in it for one thing, and it is the almighty dollar, because both Crown Jewel and the Greatest Royal Rumble last year were the two shows that generated the most amount of cash for WWE, partially because they were booked in shows by the Saudi government. And the Saudi government paid through the you-know-what for them, with WrestleMania last year in New Orleans being the third most generated thing. This was not optically, it wasn't the best thing for WWE to do. And they should have, in light of it, they should have canceled it and moved it to, another location. I know that they had been talking about moving it to, the UK potentially, or even just rebranding a house show in Uniondale, Long Island as the Crown Jewel pay-per-view that night, or, close to that date as well. Both of those would have been better plans than what they went ahead with, in my opinion. This kind of just shows a lack of sensitivity and a lack of times, and they were lambasted by the mainstream media for it, and good for them for doing so. And it's a laughing stock. Best of luck trying to get WWE talent on Last Week Tonight and or, Colbert's show in the future, Vince.
I don't disagree with a single word you said, my friend. It just baffles me that they continued to go with the event. And we know why they did, because they got paid, near almost $100 million just to do the show. Mm-hmm. But that they couldn't put, what was right ahead of the money at all. Mm-hmm. Their only thing was, I think they had Stephanie say, while we don't agree with what happened there, we're still going to honor our commitments to Saudi Arabia. So that's kind of a backwards way to say, we don't like what you're doing, but whatever.
Yeah, not great. Not great at all. So, non-WWE wise, I have Impact as the... For as much good as Impact has done in 2018 on the wrestling side and that stuff, they did a lot of bad. And one of the bad things they did with their wacky film style that they like to use, because that's an Impact trademark now and that stuff, is they killed a kid in a drive-by. Leading up to Bound for Glory in the build between the LAX OGs and, the new LAX. Yeah, there was I don't want to get into explaining it, but there was a vignette where a kid got ran over by a car, and the car kept driving.
I didn't see that, but it sounds horrible.
It's bad. It is. It's one of the worst things I've seen in any recorded medium for a while, and it was like, well, Impact killed a kid. All right, that's fun.
My pick, since I haven't seen that moment, and I was going to pick Aries again, but we've talked about it so much today.
We've talked about that one to death.
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk about it again, even though Aries is racking up the trophies tonight.
I mean, yeah, you can go ahead and say that if you want. Go right ahead if that's.
I've changed it last minute because there is a promotional tactic that I was not a fan of, and it would be the penis versus penis angle with Hangman and Joey Ryan. Okay,
from being the elite and the lead into All In and that stuff.
Yeah, I was just not a fan of it. Which I guess, it's not, to me, it's not entertaining. It's just, Beavis and Butthead humor.
Which I guess we can technically say is AEW's first entry into our list here. So there it is. with that stuff. And it wasn't for everybody. I kind of get the humor that they were going with, but it wasn't my favorite stuff that happened that night on All In. It's the All In show was so solid from front to back, with the exception of that. That was just kind of that wasn't the best bit of it, but they pulled it off. That it was such an awesome independent wrestling all-star card that I've mentioned on this channel before. Double or Nothing. Now that it is its own entity, I don't think it'll have that same feel.
No, they can't do it again because it's too indie.
Yeah, exactly. So, best wrestling maneuver of the year. The best wrestling maneuver of the year.
What a maneuver!
Yeah, the What a Maneuver Award, yes. The Vince McMahon special. What I got down is for WWE, I got Seth Rollins bringing back the Stomp, the former Curve Stomp. It's great to see it. Such an impactful finisher. Simple. Say what you want about post-concussion, and that stuff and everything. That's just, you watch wrestling, suspend your disbelief for 3 hours, 2 hours, and roll with it. It's a very believable finisher. It's almost, you could probably pull it out of nowhere like the RKO, and the RKO was very close to making it onto this list just because of how Randy was utilizing it this year and that stuff. And this gauntlet match that happened, about a week ago on SmackDown, and that stuff is a prime example of it. I mean, the guy like Kofi Kingston go Broadway almost through it, and then at the very end, Randy Orton out of nowhere on AJ Styles wins in like 6 seconds. So, American History X.
That's what I think of when I see the Curb Stomp finisher.
Oh, I haven't seen that movie in a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
So I'm not a fan of the finisher, but I get your point.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Non-WWE, you'll like this one. I got the Golden Lovers Cross Slash. Even though that's not really a finisher, it was kind of more of a, it's a maneuver, best wrestling maneuver, so it doesn't have to be a finisher. Just the timing and that stuff, and it was one of those things where Ibushi and Omega, after being separate for so long, come back to reunite the tag team, and then they try to execute that in matches, and there was a couple matches where they didn't really get it all the way, and it kind of looked a little botchy, but when it's done perfectly, it's a thing of beauty. It's awesome. It's like the next step of the Ricky to Robert double drop kick from the Rock and Roll Express or something, so I love that. Love it.
Good stuff. I'm okay with that. My best wrestling maneuver is Kyrie's elbow.
Oh, the insane elbow, yes.
It's a beautiful elbow drop.
It's real nice to watch live. Like, it is. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times on Rumble weekend.
Yeah.
That is picturesque.
Yeah, she just gets so much height on that and then just kind of floats down.
Probably the best diving elbow since Macho Man.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. It's a beautiful elbow, and hopefully she gets to bring it to SmackDown here soon.
Do you think she's going to SmackDown, eh?
Here's my prediction for WrestleMania. I am thinking it's going to be Sane versus Asuka for the title.
Ooh. I'd like that. That'd be fun. That'd be really fun.
That's my prediction. We'll see if it comes true, though.
That would be really, really fun. I'd like that. All right. Worst major wrestling show of 2018.
You didn't let me talk about my non-WWE wrestling maneuver, sir.
Okay, go for it. If you mean volley, go ahead.
We're going to go with Indie Taker.
Okay, the Young Bucks, sorry.
Tombstone.
Yeah, the Tombstone off the... Okay.
Tombstone moonsault.
Oh, yeah.
Which is just ridiculous to say, but it's fun to watch.
Okay. I'm more of a fan of the Meltzer driver myself. I dig that, but that's set up. But the Indie Taker, okay, cool. Yeah, that's... Will the Undertaker pull the Indie Taker out at Double or Nothing? Stay tuned. We'll find out. Or will they have to rename it because now the Undertaker is the Indie Taker? See?
Maybe that's his new gimmick.
Indie Taker. There we go.
Indie Taker.
Indie Taker.
He's a race car driver from Indianapolis now.
The next generation of Sparky Plug. There we go. Okay, as I said before, the worst major wrestling show of 2018. WWE wise, Backlash 2018 is my pick, and non-WWE, we talked about it earlier, AAA Triple Mania 2018. God, both those shows are piss poor awful.
Don't disagree on the non-WWE. Triple Mania is just... It's regularly known as going to be the worst show of the year. Mm-hmm. It's won it a few times now. And this year was no surprise. The production values were poor. Even the booking was poor. Everything was just poor. I feel sorry for the 60,000 who were in attendance there in Mexico City. Mm-hmm. And then for the WWE product, I'm going to go with Crown Jewel.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I didn't watch Crown Jewel at all just because I decided to boycott it with a bunch of members of the wrestling fraternity and that stuff, and we did some other stuff that night or that day too, and that stuff. I mean, there was watch-alongs of some classic Survivor Series that people were tweeting along to and that stuff and doing that I got involved with instead, which was a lot of fun, and just amongst some other things. So it was great just to shut off the WWE product and not care what they were doing over there at all during that show.
Not that it mattered, because nothing carried over to next week.
No, except this whole Best in the World stuff that McMahon and The Miz are doing on SmackDown, which is basically a lead up for McMahon's heel turn is all it is. So now I gotta put a smile on my face and say the best. The best major wrestling show of 2018. My non-WWE best show of the year is probably not a surprise. I got Wrestle Kingdom 12. All In was very close to being there. It was kind of 1A, 1B for majority of the fall leading into this and that stuff. But thinking back to just the mega Jericho mega build and did Naito and Okada, those two matches alone, hey, that was the be-all, end-all, and I think just the experience. I mean, we watched it together as a group. It was great. It was the first time ever I've ever done that for anything outside of WWE. So refreshing, so much fun. And, from front to back, it was solid. It was such a great show. And then my best show for the year from WWE, ironically, was not WrestleMania. It was the Royal Rumble for 2018, because you had two fresh winners of the Rumble. You had the debut of Ronda Rousey, which was a jaw-dropping moment. Everything save the Universal title match, which was Kane, Lesnar, and Rollins?
No, I think it was Reigns.
Reigns, yeah. Sorry, it was Roman, yeah. That's right, sorry. Yeah, I knew it was one of the two in there. I was just trying to remember, but yeah, it was Roman Reigns. That was, probably one of the best done Rumbles that I had seen up until this year. Obviously, going to see Rumble 19 live, that knocks 18 down the list, right? But, to this point when I filled it in, Royal Rumble 2018, I think, was the best show that the WWE produced last year.
For myself, non-WB, I chose the other one. I chose All In.
Okay.
Reason why I chose All In over Wrestle Kingdom is the impact that it developed within wrestling in general.
It was quite the pond ripple effect, the butterfly effect, if you will.
If All In failed, the Bucks would be in WWE.
So would Omega too, I would think.
But All In was successful, and now there's a new company. There's a lot more hype around it, their organization. Like I said, if All In failed and drew half an arena, then that would be it.
The ability to, I guess, the realization and now the ability to announce to these guys that what they've built towards is there now, and now they can cash in on it with AEW.
Yeah, no,
Cody, the Bucks, Omega, Hangman Page, like all the T-shirt sales and everything like that. There's a movement out there, and there's a want for their brand entertainment. So
give it 5 years, and I think we'll be starting to see compare them with WWE.
Okay, cool. Hey, that's a cool one. All right,
best,
WWE wise.
Best other one is the Rumble as well. You had the first female Rumble ever, which was also a treat because you had a lot of alumni come in that you haven't seen in years, like Molly Holly and Trish has been there a couple times, but Eva Torres I think was back for that.
There's a lot of alumni in there with that one. Yeah, that was kind of a classic Rumble. And then this year with 19, they flipped it, and it was kind of the spotlight was on the new and up-and-coming stars. Your Candice LeRae's, your Kairi Sane's, your Rhea Ripley's, filling those spots, the extra spots that you needed in the Rumble, right? And that you had built your roster up a little bit more since the year before and that stuff, and you had the girls from SmackDown, girls from Raw, and that stuff and everything. So, and of course the overwhelming storyline of the man, versus the Queen as the last two, and then coming in, and yeah, so that was awesome. Yep. That was great.
The man, the Queen, and the Brawler.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So next award we have is the worst television announcer, or the guy who just annoys you on the mic that you have to hear all the time.
I am going to get actually, okay, I'm writing this down, or I wrote this down prior to all the events in January and that stuff, and I'm looking back at it because I didn't revisit this category, but I really like these choices. So past Kellen, I'm going to pat him on the back here because that was really good. Non-WWE, again, Josh Matthews. Abyss, the Black Hole Slam. He sounds like a announcer that needs his batteries changed. Like it's wearing down. I can't believe my eyes. It's just stuff like that. Almost as if it's like, he's departed now, and God rest his soul, but Super Dave Osborne, if he was an announcer, almost, right? Wrestling announcer. So, hey, there we go. That's right. So, and then with WWE, I just have written down here, rotating pretty girls. The backstage announcers they have on SmackDown, Raw, and NXT might be some of the days of, the dearly departed Mean Gene Okerlund and Sean Mooney are far, far gone from WWE, unfortunately. And, maybe the best women's announcer they had in that role, Terry Runnels, was probably the best announcer, that they had, or the best example of an announcer, from her run from 2000, 2001 on to, what was it, 06, 05, something like that. She was with the WWE for a while in that role, I think. Since that time, they've tried to rotate in female talent of various shapes, sizes, descriptions, indescriptions, whatever, in the roles for backstage announcer on every WWE show they've done, dating even back to the ECW reboot. And all of them have failed miserably. There might be one or two that have caught on in the company in different realizations or different forms. Renee Young being one, Kathy Kelly being the other. But who they have now is terrible. Get Dasha Fuentes and frickin' Caleb Braxton off my TV, please. And thank you.
That was a rant. Mine's not a rant. Mine's just facts.
Okay.
My worst TV announcer in the WWE is a man who's not familiar with the product anymore, but we still honor him because of his legacy, and that's the King.
Jerry the King Lawler. Yeah, how was because I haven't had the chance to watch the Rumble from this year, Rumble 19, the match itself, the men's match back yet. How was he during that match?
Ill-informed.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh really?
He doesn't know most of the new guys. He doesn't know at all. And then he's also still trying to put in his giggles at stuff that's not funny.
Oh no.
So it's just he needs to go away. Like we need to, like you're a Hall of Famer. You can make occasional appearances, but please stop talking.
Who would you put in that spot? That's the thing. I mean, he comes in once a while for a nostalgia pop, but it's obvious to me that they're not going to bring JR back anytime soon. I think there's a little bit of friction in between WWE and JR once again here, and that's the reason why.
I think we just move on with the new talent, with the current generation of talent.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sure.
Yeah, we have to move on. We can honor the past, but we can't live in the past.
I mean, he's still got Michael Cole. And
Cole's been there forever.
Cole's been there forever, and he does his thing. So, and people recognize him now at this point. So, that's let Michael Cole be the legacy guy now at this point. And whatever, roll with it.
Because eventually Graves is going to take over that spot.
Oh, great! Yeah. Well, Graves has kind of moved into being the Jerry the King Lawler of Monday nights. So there we go.
And then for non-WB, it's going to be a guy who farts on the air and yells at the producers and pees his pants, and that's Vampiro.
Okay.
He was my highlight of Triple Mania for all the wrong reasons.
He was so good for
XPW?
Or not XPW. He was so good for Lucha Underground too, but the thing was those were all pre-taped segments, right?
Yeah, they were.
There's nothing that was live, right? So,
this one they could not edit and post, and he is the grumpiest middle-aged man I've ever seen.
If it seems like we're bashing Lucha Underground a bit here tonight, please put it down in the comments below. But I mean, this is the thing, is that, man, the mighty have fallen on that program. That program used to be must-watch TV, and now it's not really anything anymore.
But they left it on a cliffhanger, which we'll never get to see the resolution of.
That's right, exactly. So,
best television announcer. Now we're going on a positive note.
Go first. I've been going first the last few rounds, so you go ahead and go first here.
All right, for WB, we're keeping it up with Mamma Mia. Mauro Ranallo.
Mr. Mauro Ranallo, right.
Yeah,
okay.
He's the best by far commentator on in the organization that they have. And,
right.
I know he's dealing with all his issues and his mental health issues. And I'd love to see him come back to the main brand again. But for now, you get to enjoy him on NXT, and that's fine.
That documentary they put out on him last year, too, was up there for the best pro wrestling DVD streaming documentary thing. But I figured that, with Andre and Rick being so iconic, that's how I leaned towards was those two. But yeah, that was a close third for sure.
And then non-WB, I'm gonna go with the newcomer on the block, Excalibur.
Okay, hey,
I liked his work at All In. I've liked some of his work that I've heard in PWG. He's been doing some good stuff.
He is iconic over there. If you get a chance, watch some of the Battle of Los Angeles stuff from the past 5 years that he's done. It's really good. Really, really good stuff. Him and Chucky T on commentary are hilarious. It's great stuff. Very adult, but very funny. Very funny.
I think Excalibur is going to have a job with AEW once they get their TV contract.
Oh, you predict him on the announced team, eh? So, yeah, that'd be very interesting to see who they pair him with and that stuff, because they won't have Ian Riccoboni to fall back on for sure. That's the guy who did the thing for All In, Ring of Honor's announcer, right? So
yeah, he won't be there.
He won't be there. So for my choices, I got from NXT and NXT UK for the WWE side, Mr. Nigel McGuinness, and for non-WWE, the man, the myth, the legend from New Japan, Mr. Don Callis, who I think was my choice last year too. I figured he still is the best at what he does, and it's such a great thing. Him and Kevin Kelly's got such an amazing chemistry together, and they're so awesome. And with Nigel, again, another guy who is just having some great fun, and I think that they'll probably bring him in maybe as the SmackDown version of Corey Graves coming up in the fall when they launch on Fox. So I could totally see Tom Phillips and Nigel, or even if they work things out again with Morrow, I could see Morrow and Nigel doing the Fox stuff. And
that makes sense too, because they want a more sports feel, and they would give that.
Michael and Corey doing the Raw stuff, the sports entertainment stuff. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be really cool to see this new WWE stuff coming out in the fall. The way it'll all shape up and shape out.
Yeah, from what we know, SmackDown is they wanted to run more of a UFC type vibe.
It's sounds like it's going to be all matches. So they're going to build stuff up on Mondays to play on Tuesdays, I think. Yeah, for sure. Because they're also, I mean, they're looking at rebranding or doing a draft as well. But I've also heard that they've looked at, going away with the separate rosters again and just going, one on, with belts. That's it. But then you got too many belts. So I still think that they'll stick with the separate rosters. I just think you'll see more of the athletes get drafted over to SmackDown, and more of the sports entertainers will be on Raw.
That makes sense, and I'm excited for that because it would be a refresh, and we desperately need one there.
All right, best non-wrestler.
You want me to go first again, since you've been owning this, sir?
Go for it. Just please speak up if that's the case.
So, best non-wrestler WWE, it's going to be Paul Heyman.
Okay, yep, agreed.
His goal is to put over Brock Lesnar and be a heel and non-wrestler, and he does that job fantastically. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not just that, but put over whatever match and whatever opponent Lesnar is facing to.
Exactly. My best non-wrestler in the indies, it's going to be controversial, but I'm going with Conrad.
Conrad Thompson.
Yeah, Conrad Thompson, because of his promotional skills. He's opened dialogues with a lot of legends. He's started Starcasts.
Yep.
He's just doing amazing work promotional-wise for whoever he works with.
Does the tour with Something to Wrestle With live with Bruce Pritchard and with the 83 Week stuff with Eric Bischoff. If those shows are coming to your town, I can't stress it enough. Go check them out. I saw Something to Wrestle With live in Phoenix and Moorhouse. It was a riot.
Nice.
From front to back, it was amazing. It was so much fun. So it's a lot of R and X-rated stories. We'll put it that way, because there's no filter with those. So he got Bruce to really open up big time, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun, with those. I had that second thing blank with non-WWE because the best non-wrestler can change so much from company to company depending on who you got. I mean, you talked about a guy like Excalibur. On the West Coast, he is a commentating god, right? I mean, like, there you go, there's a guy. In the Midwest, I can always, year after year put a guy like Dave Prazak down, because there's a guy, who runs Shimmer. And every Shimmer iPay-per-view and DVD release and that stuff, his voice is on there, and he does such a great job with that. So, you know what? I'll vote for my boy Dave Prazak for that one. I'll just throw him in there. I think he is... And the stuff that they got planned with Shimmer, they got the streaming thing now where you can stream Shimmer.com. You can go to that and check that out. It's a streaming service that I think costs about the same as New Japan. They're constantly adding stuff every month to it. They're going to do their iPay reviews on there too. He's got a hand with Kevin Harvey doing the Rise stuff, which has kind of been a feeder promotion to Impact for their Knockouts division and that stuff. And it's such he's such an influence in women's wrestling and that stuff, everything. And he's not just the old Ring of Honor announcer guy either, which there you go. Which it was the best stuff too when he and guys like Lenny Leonard and that stuff were doing the commentary way back in the day, back in the tape trading days. Moorhouse, where everybody wanted some Ring of Honor stuff. Trust me, I was tape trading. That was the hottest stuff.
Back in the Please Don't Die era?
Yep, exactly. When we had, like, Paul London and Spanky.
Or Kazarian.
Early Kazarian, yep. Christopher Daniels.
Joe.
Punk. AJ. Great roster.
Chris Hero, yeah.
Lacey. Jimmy Jacobs. Yeah, those guys. And girls, exactly. So, Moorhouse Rookie of the Year. It's... A very debated subject amongst wrestling fans and that stuff. Rookie of the Year is amazing. It's a great category to discuss and debate. My choices for Rookie of the Year under the Wrestling Observer format. WWE, I don't think there's any touching Ronda Rousey at all. Here's somebody who went from green to she can main event any arena in the country and is believable and now is really hated. And just naturally hated now, I guess, at this point. And that's up because of her involvement with the Becky Lynch feud and storyline and that stuff. So she's my choice for WWE. And I got Luke Perry's kid for non-WWE, Jungle Boy, because he's signed to AEW, and the Bucks are going to take a chance on him. So he was the biggest name to come out of the Indies last year. With Rookie of the Year. If there was a best sophomore, I'd put Brian Pillman Jr. in there for sophomore, just because of his work in MLW. But he's been at it now for a couple of years now, so you can't consider him a rookie. So Jungle Boy gets the nod for me.
Rookie of the Year, Ronda Rousey has been perfect coming out. Like, she trained, she actually honored her craft. She didn't go out green, and she's been putting the work in, and it's been noticeable. For the non-WB, I had a guy that I don't think's a rookie, so I agree with yours, 100%.
Okay.
I had
cool.
Flipboard.
What was your name anyway? You had Flipboard.
But I think he's a sophomore as well.
Yeah, I think he'd be classified as a sophomore for 2 or 3 years and that stuff and that sort of thing. Just with Flip, I just think back to the Final Battle 2018 and how much of that match with Bully Ray was stolen right out of One Night Stand 06. You can play both matches side by side. That, like the Dudleys versus, it wasn't the Dudleys. It was Edge McFoley versus Terry Funk Tommy Dreamer and Bully Ray and Flip Gordon, and they almost went spot for spot. Just, including the girlfriend getting involved and getting, the bloody kiss at the end and whatever, and that stuff. So anyway, whatever. Funny things. Everything is funny.
Everything comes around. You can't do the same thing over. Well, you can do the same thing over and over. You can't do new things over and over.
Match of the Year. People chant it. We've picked it. Match of the Year, Match of the Year. WWE, Gargano, Ciampa, TakeOver New Orleans. All of the stars. And non-WWE, for me, Omega, Jericho, Wrestle Kingdom 12. Uh-oh, we have a different opinion. And Moorhouse's Match of the Year, non-WWE, is
Omega Okada Dominion.
Drum roll, please. Woo! Both great choices.
That was one of the best matches I've ever seen. It was an hour and 20 minutes that I watched the entire time. Like, I didn't check my phone. I didn't walk to the kitchen to grab something. I just watched for an hour and 20, them sweat it out and wrestle it out.
Grab your favorite snacks, sit down, and put your feet up and watch them tell a great story. Yep, absolutely. The Omega Jericho Wrestle Kingdom thing felt like a rock opera to me. Like, I mean, that was like watching, Tommy or The Wall or something like that. I'd put it up there with that, just, because, almost narrated by Jericho and Fozzy, like the word for word, that song Judas was the storyline leading up to, Omega Jericho almost, right? It was a friendship that dissolved, because Jericho was pissed off that this young kid from his hometown was showing everybody up, right?
King of Winnipeg.
Exactly. You could have had it in Winnipeg, too. You put that match at the MTS Center, it sells out, guaranteed. I mean, just saying. It's just a thing.
Two of the greatest wrestlers in the world are from Winnipeg, ever.
I'm surprised nobody's tried to book that yet. Well, maybe AEW will. Who knows? So, AEW could run Winnipeg and sell out the MTS Center. Just throw it out there.
Nate, I don't think they're that level yet.
For a pay-per-view, they could.
Oh, for pay-per-view. But if there's just like a TV show or house show, I don't think they're drawing more than 1,000 yet. Because most of the people that are going to this pay-per-view are traveling in. I
debate you on that. I think that if they pulled a good mix of Western Canadian indie talent, and I think they could probably get at least 5, 6, maybe. Val?
We'd have to see, because WWE's coming to Edmonton, and they're not sold out.
It's a brand new building, the first time they're running it, so yeah, I think honestly, for that show, I'm ballparking probably 5 or 6 for that. So, but anyway, whatever. Best weekly TV show.
I have only one nomination.
Go for it.
NXT.
Oh, wow. Okay.
NXT. It's
different.
It's an hour of wrestling. There are entertaining matches and good storylines, great characters, and it's only an hour of my life.
Mine is different. Mine is I did the split here again. WWE was SmackDown Live, just because I think that's the most stomachable of the two major shows, and you can blow through it in like 90 minutes and be really happy with it at this point. And non-WWE is still New Japan on Access TV, even though we're like about a year behind up here and that stuff with their repeats on the Fight Channel and that stuff. I think they still run episodes with Morrill doing commentary on it, which is weird. But I think it is a great encapsulation of what they do, and then they do the specials once in a while, like the G1 specials in San Francisco, Charlotte, whatever. You know, there's talk that this MSG one may also be even a G1 special rather than a pay-per-view on Access. They're kind of debating whether they want to put it on pay-per-view or if they want to do it on Access yet. At this point, we'll wait and see. So, promotion of the year.
Only one nomination from me.
Okay.
We got New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I agree. If I had to pick brand of the year from WWE, I'd obviously take NXT.
Yeah.
Though, so there we go.
No, in my opinion, New Japan 2018, I think, was the pinnacle of a long couple of years of success. I think the next couple of years might be a little more difficult now that they have competition here in the U.S. with all the characters that everyone flocked to them for.
Right on. All right. Completely preface this and tell this to the people that are watching this and that stuff. We're not going to hit on every single award that Dave has thrown out there. We've decided to make some cuts and that stuff. So you'll see coming up here some quick jumps to different categories and that stuff. But it's just in process of time because we've already debated enough on a lot of these things. And as you've noticed, we've kind of maybe doubled back on a few things, such as the Austin Aries situation and that stuff, quite a few times because we're similar minds with it, right? So, most underrated wrestler of the year. So I got WWE and non-WWE choices here. Most underrated for WWE is the NXT UK champion, Mr. Pete Dunne.
Where are you?
What's that?
Where are you, Pete Dunne?
Oh, where are you? Okay. Well, he was in Phoenix. He was one of the guys, along with Velveteen Dream, that was just really pushed to the moon on Rumble weekend for sure. They used him quite a lot down there in a lot of different things and a lot of different situations. So a real workhorse and awesome to watch live. Non-WWE, Juice Robinson. I think now the current U.S. champion. Is he still the U.S. champion over there? Second time? Or?
Yeah, he hasn't lost it yet.
Hasn't lost it yet, yeah. So hey, and that feud he had with Cody this year actually was a lot of fun to watch. It was one of the highlights of the summer for sure.
My most underrated is the first Universal Champion, Finn Balor, on WWE.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, he's one of their best wrestlers, but just can't get out of that upper mid-card spot.
Great match with Brock at the Rumble, I thought.
Oh, yeah, great, absolutely. Brock handpicked that match, I heard.
Oh, really? Wow,
yeah,
I didn't know that. There we go.
He wanted to work with Finn.
That was awesome. That was such a great match. Brock's had great matches with smaller guys.
Yeah, he does better with small guys than he does with the big guys.
That's the formula. I'd say just keep giving him smaller guys. And Seth's a smaller guy, so this WrestleMania match should be superb. And if that's the case, that'll be really good. So,
and then for the other for non-WWE, we have Brian Cage.
Whoa, the Machine! Yeah, the Swolverine. He is he's a guy that every time I watch him, I get more and more impressed by. The dude is just, he'll be a talent that WWE is going to look at here in the next few years. Guaranteed, I think. I think they're going to grab him when he's overripe, to steal a hockey terminology. Yeah, they'll grab him eventually.
He has,
for sure.
He has it. He has the body. He has charisma, and he can also fly.
Cool. Yeah. Everything and anything. Was very impressed by him in Lucha Underground. Watched his PWG work, same deal. And now with Impact, again, with the exception of the finish for Homecoming, there's kind of a little bizarro world there too. But that was, I just don't think that was his time. But whatever. But there we go. But he will hold major championships in 19 somewhere, definitely. Overrated.
I'll go first, my friend.
I'll go first?
I'll go first.
Oh, go for it. Go.
Who goes first? You go first, I go first.
You go first.
I go.
We're having a Canadian standoff. Okay.
Most overrated on the WWE side, we have Best for Business Corbin. It's just not his. It's not his good gimmick. It's not a good character. It just drives me insane. And he was pushed to the moon.
Bernard the Business Bear had more pull than he did. It wasn't even a WWE gimmick.
Yeah.
Right.
So I thought he would just get off my TV, please, Mr. Corbin.
Right.
And then on the non-WWE side, it's Johnny Survivor, Johnny Impact.
Oh, okay.
I picked him because the only reason I feel like he was given the title is because of the cross-promotion with Survivor at the time.
Okay, so with my choice for WWE, it may speak to her as more of a performer than anything else, which means that she's probably a better heel than face, and if that's the case, and I think if they kept her heel throughout, I think it'd be, it's better for her in the long run and that stuff. But I got Alexa Bliss as my overrated choice in WWE. I don't see it. I still don't see it. What everybody likes with her and that stuff, whatever. So
she's cute.
She's a 5'0" hot looking chick that does flips in the ring.
Yeah.
Big deal. Whatever. That's it. And then doubling back, he's racking them up. The Meltzers this year. My most overrated is Austin Aries, non-WWE, because just the dude. We talked about him earlier. Maybe it's the vegan attitude or something. I don't know.
Someone hates Austin Aries. We get it.
There we go.
We get it.
Moorhouse, what's your choice for most charismatic?
In WWE, I have a tie. I could not decide between the two, so they both get a half a trophy.
Yay!
The half a trophy, one part goes to the Velveteen Dream.
Ooh.
And the other part goes to Elias.
Hey, those are both great choices. Those are off the board for both. Those are awesome. Yeah, both those guys are huge. Elias is, talent speaks for himself right there, and then Velveteen Dream on top of it. So
yeah, to me, the Dream has the ability to become the next big superstar in WWE.
All right.
He has all the tools to get there. He just needs to. I think he needs to go to the main roster and maybe flesh out the character a little more. But I think it's a fantastic character. He has he has charisma on equal levels to The Rock, I find. Gotcha.
Anyways, my most charismatic choice is The Miz for WWE.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Action movie superstar, well, in his own mind. Great guy and whatever. But, he pulls it off. He's reaping the rewards of a great career now at this point. So I don't want to say he's in his sunset years, but I think that I think now that should he decide to hang them up within the next 2 to 5 years or something like that, I think this stretch here will be what he's known for. Is with the feuds with Danny O'Brien and that stuff and everything, and just we've seen a lot of it in 2018. Just one of the most hated heels, and as we're seeing now, can actually get over as a babyface as well, which is something that I knew was probably in him, but hey, there we go. So.
And he's never injured anyone or never been hurt, and that's a pretty amazing stat he has.
He is the Iron Man of WWE, yes.
For non-WB, I think we're both going the same direction here, and it's the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla.
Chris Jericho can do it all. Promote a show on a boat, sing, dance, wrestle, put on 5-star matches. At his age, I mean, anything and everything. Anything and everything.
Mr. Entertainment. He's a Insta Hall of Famer.
Cool. Most improved. Most improved. This is always a fun award because, again, we get to see who's most improved throughout the year. WWE-wise, has to be Ronda Rousey. Again, from nothing to main event player and, not just of name value, now she can actually get it done in the ring and is a legit badass in the ring. I wouldn't want to face her in a dark alley at all. You just smile and hold out your hand and she'll slap it. That's it.
So for my most improved WWE, I have the recent addition to the main event scene, Mustafa Ali.
Ooh, yes. That's another great story for sure. Guy from 205 Live, who they wanted initially to push out of if you watch the Cruiserweight tournament back a couple of years ago, they wanted to push him as a foreign heel. And they quickly abandoned that, and it's a good thing they have, because this guy is, he could potentially be the Seth Rollins of SmackDown.
Easily, and I think he's a good role model for, his country and his religion, and he's just a positive person overall.
That's a given. Yeah, that's a given for sure. Absolutely. Yep, great choice.
Non-WWE for me?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm picking the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Nick Aldis.
Wow. My friends over at the NWA 10 Pounds of Podcast will be happy to hear their champion's name mentioned here in this program. Yeah.
He brings absolute class to the belt. He reminds me a lot of the 80s style of NWA wrestlers, where they wear suits, travel on planes, live rich, and also perform really good matches.
Dude was in semi-retirement before Billy Corgan gave him a call and said, "Do you want to be the NWA champion?" And since that time has gone on kind of the, I think it's called the Quest for Gold or something like that, where he tried to defend it 90 times in 90 days or some insane number or something like that across and around the world, and has done so and is looking at piecing together another similar run like that for 2019. Yeah, for a expanding brand like the NWA is right now, where they're trying to get it intertwined with all these independent promotions and that stuff, he's awesome. And to the local promoters in Western Canada, book this guy because he is good. Nick Aldis is awesome.
He's money, and I can't remember the last time I might have put an NWA wrestler on my award list, so that's pretty...
This is a first, yeah. This is absolute first, so hey, but yeah, book this guy. He is great. I got Hangman Page for mine from seeing him in New Japan and that stuff this year. He's by far and away the outstanding stud athlete in New Japan, and we'll see what happens going forward. And even a match that he had with Janela leading up to the ending of it at All In was very entertaining. It was reminiscent of a very early WWE hardcore style match where anything and everything could happen. So
you're on board with Pac versus Hangman coming up then?
It's going to be an exciting match, yes. I'm looking forward to that at Double or Nothing. Unsure now if that will be for a AEW Heavyweight Championship, or if they decide to use Jericho and Omega for that program, or what it will be. Or even if those matches are like the beginning of like a playdown or something like that, and maybe they have the winners of those two meet up. Maybe we have Hangman Page and Jericho, or we have Omega and Hangman Page or something like that later on.
And they also still have a lot of talent that they haven't told us about yet too.
Exactly. We're still reaching. AEW is the great unknown right now. Exactly. So, exactly. Tag team of the year.
Tag team.
Back again.
Tag team back again. I don't know the lyrics, but that's okay.
Whoomph, there it is. Anyway, WWE, I got the New Day, and non-WWE, I picked the Young Bucks. I think between those two teams, those are probably the two most influential acts of 2018.
For non-WWE, I picked the Owen Show, and for WWE, I picked Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
I was going to say, wow, those are two different choices.
I picked the New Day and the Young Bucks.
Yeah. I mean, both those teams there. It was awesome to see the Elite and the New Day go one-on-one at, what was it, CES?
They had the Street Fighter tournament.
Yeah, the Street Fighter tournament there. Yeah, it was great chemistry between both of them. If you haven't seen it, just go Google it. It's on YouTube. It's a fun hour of watching for sure. It's really good, really really good. Feud of the year, WWE wise. We had talked about it earlier. Actually, you had talked about it in a negative light in one of the categories. I have it in a positive light here. Ambrose and Rollins I have for WWE as the feud of the year out of WWE, and I still stick with that big time. Just because of the launch of it, they took a potentially serious and heartbreaking situation with Roman Reigns and turned it around on the same night and made everybody's jaws drop. And hindsight being 2020, that was absolutely the right move to do, and they pulled it off amazingly. It was great. Non-WWE, again, I touched on this earlier, Jericho Omega, Wrestle Kingdom 12. Effing phenomenal.
One choice I don't agree with, one choice is fine.
All right.
But I'm not going to go into it because we already discussed it.
Oh, okay. Well, what's your choices, though, at least?
My choices, though, is Ciampa and Gargano, because that was a fantastic feud.
Yeah, sure. All right.
And then non-WWE is Omega and Rhodes for the Bullet Club leadership.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's one of the more underrated ones that they had this year in New Japan. So
the matches weren't superstar matches, but the feud I thought was fantastic.
Mm-hmm. I think that was also in Ring of Honor a bit too. I'm just trying to remember if they had that on there.
They had a match at what's their March one?
Oh, at the anniversary show. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just the anniversary show. The whatever anniversary show, whatever year it is. Right. The funny thing about that is my memory is a little loopy from that weekend and that stuff because I had my wisdom tooth pulled prior to that show going on air on the pay-per-view. And I remember doing the Nitro Steak, and it's on the channel, and I don't remember recording the process or anything like that at all. Like, I know I have notes, I have stuff written down for it and everything, and I know I took notes throughout the night. I just don't remember doing that at all. So that's medication for you. That's how much painkillers I was on, I guess. I don't know. Weird.
And he was also driving a big rig that night, too.
I guess so, yeah.
Next is Female of the Year, I think. Oh,
yes, Female of the Year, right. I just have one selection there, and it's got to be Becky Lynch, from top to bottom. I would have picked Ronda, but I meant, the stuff that she was able to pull from, being relegated to, again, pre-show stuff and everything at the beginning of the year to going forward into, what had happened. Or what we are now, our current course, I should say. There we go.
I agree. For me, WWE, I had to think about it, but I did end up choosing Becky Lynch. Mm-hmm. And the only reason I had to think about it is because she didn't catch fire until the fall, which there's 3 months left. But that fire, I think, was enough to give her the award. If I didn't give it to her, it would have been Ronda.
Okay.
And then non-WWE, I had Tessa Blanchard.
Which would have been my choice non-WWE-wise, yeah. Yeah. No, she took the Knockouts division by storm in TNA. She got the win in the big all-star four-corner survival match at All In with the best from all over the independent world in that one. And, is big in the David McLean WOW reboot that they're doing, and still doing a thing. She's probably the busiest talent right now, female wrestling wise in the world. Like I'd hate to see what her schedule's like for Mania weekend. She's probably booked on every single show. You know.
She has it, and eventually she's going to find her way in the WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Best male wrestler of the year?
Well, we have most outstanding, and we have wrestler of the year coming up.
Oh, okay, yeah. So there we go.
Mine are pretty close. There's only one name that's changed on the list.
Okay.
But the WWE one's the same guy for both.
Okay.
So for most outstanding wrestler, I have AJ Styles.
Which is what I've got for both categories, yeah. So they call it the Lou Fez Award, the Ric Flair Award for Wrestler of the Year. AJ Styles, I gave him that. I also gave him Most Outstanding Wrestler, so the Mao of the Year is AJ Styles on the WWE side, yes.
I agree with you. That's who I have for both. I do have different for the non-WB.
As do I, yeah.
Yeah, so for Most Outstanding, I have Kenny Omega.
Okay, we differ there.
And then for Wrestler of the Year, I have Tanahashi.
We really differ there. Okay. So, most outstanding wrestler that I got for non-WWE is Chris Jericho. And everybody's probably thinking, well, that's kind of a dark horse pick. And it's just, again, the total entertainment factor with him. And the fact that at his age, what he can pull off is just mind-boggling, right? So,
but he only had 5 matches.
Still. I mean, he's reached superstar attraction status here. I mean, let's not mince words. Wrestler of the Year, non-WWE, so the Lou Fez Ric Flair Award guy. Who else? The Best Bout Machine, Kenny Omega.
See, the reason why I didn't put Omega there, and I really wanted to, is just because he didn't wrestle him, I think, enough that year.
Okay. All right.
He had like 40 or 50 matches where Tana was almost on every New Japan tour, every card, and he basically rebuilt himself as a credible champion again.
Well, I think it's just a style and that stuff. I think they just don't want to burn Omega out, or didn't want to burn Omega out and that stuff. And it'll be interesting to see how often he wrestles in AEW. Whether he's on every week or what the deal is and that stuff. I think it'll probably be, when they get TV, it'll be probably a safer style and that stuff than we're used to seeing, obviously, on the big shows and everything like that. But for something like Double or Nothing and that stuff, all bets are off. He's going to give you probably a 5-star match with Jericho again, And it's huge for them to have inked that rematch. That's going to be the selling point for sure because, again, like I said, it's a match of the year candidate or the match of the year in 2018 that everybody was talking about, so.
And what Kellen just mentioned is he's really looking forward to Omega Orton, Kenny Orton matches, because he's going to start fighting like Randy Orton.
Who knows? We'll see what happens, with the exodus of disgruntled talent from WWE.
No. You're saying that Kenny Omega on TV is going to be like Randy Orton, so he's going to have he's going to have just generic same matches over and over again.
I think even Kenny Omega at 50% speed is probably still more entertaining than Orton at 100% speed. I mean, there's a reason why that gauntlet ended with Orton just giving the RKO to AJ Styles and that's it. And they faded to black. Because, you don't dare put Orton into Kofi. Could you imagine if it was Orton and Kofi as the first two in that gauntlet? People would have been clicking the channels.
Well, he would have probably put him in a sleeper hold and then
rest holds just all throughout,
and then did a body slam and then started pounding the ground for an RKO.
Kofi looked great in that match. The problem is that it's the way they structured it that made Kofi look great. That's it. So I'm still my everyone's like Kofi should go on a run. Nah,
it's not happening, guys.
I don't think so. I think that it's.
Reddit's going crazy with like Kofi's next champ. I'm like, no, he is not.
No, he isn't. But anyways, that's our Meltzers for the year. I'm Kellen Nitro. He's Moorhouse. Moorhouse, how can they follow you on all your socials?
Well, my only social is Twitter, and it's at House of More.
He's very active on Twitter, too. So you can message him anytime with any question, and he'll get back to you in the next 48 to 72.
We can talk about hockey 3 weeks ago.
Exactly. I'm Kellen Nitro across all the social media platforms. Again, Kellen from Canada. Hello. And We'll take it easy, and we'll talk to you guys later on down the road. Later days, happy wrestling watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks again for sticking through this. But again, the Meltzers 2018 are done for another year. Now we'll see what happens in 2019.